I need to write this down while it's still fresh, even though part of me wants to just forget the whole thing. I know how this sounds. I'm not asking anyone to believe me, but I also can't keep pretending nothing happened. I've had insomnia for about 8 years now. Started in college, never really went away. I've tried everything. Melatonin, meditation apps, those white noise machines that sound like you're sleeping inside a vacuum cleaner. Nothing works consistently. What does work, or did work anyway, is falling asleep with the TV on. Something about the changing light and the voices, I guess. My brain needs that distraction to finally shut down. My routine's pretty much the same every night. I get into bed around 11, even though I know I won't sleep until 2 or 3. I channel surf. A lot. I have this thing where I assign personalities to the channels. Channel 47 is trying too hard. Always playing the same action movies from the 90s, like they're doing me a favour. Channel 203 has given up entirely. Just shows infomercials for kitchen gadgets, hosted by people with unsettling enthusiasm. Channel 891 is my favourite lately. It plays old game shows from countries I've never been to. There's something comforting about watching people win refrigerators in dubbed Portuguese at 2:30 in the morning. My ex-girlfriend used to say this habit was weird, that normal people just take an Ambien. But she also used to fall asleep the second her head hit the pillow. So what did she know about needing something to focus on besides your own thoughts? Sometimes I'll watch part of an old movie on TCM, or catch the end of whatever cop drama's on. Infomercials. Foreign language channels where I don't understand a word, but the cadence is soothing. The Weather Channel at 2 a.m. is surprisingly hypnotic. I'm not picky. The content doesn't matter. It's just noise until my body finally gives up. And I always wake up at around 4 or 5 a.m. with the TV still on. Like clockwork. I'll wake up just enough to find the remote tangled in my sheets, turn the TV off, and go back to sleep until my actual alarm. This has happened hundreds of times, maybe thousands. It's so routine I barely remember doing it. Tuesday night, or I guess Wednesday morning, was different. I'd fallen asleep watching something on one of those high-number cable channels. You know the ones I mean. Up in the 900s that you only find when you're scrolling too fast. I don't even remember what it was. I just remember the usual feeling of my thoughts getting fuzzy, the remote getting heavy in my hand. When I woke up, the TV was still on. That part was normal. The clock said 4:47 a.m. Also normal. I remember thinking, in that half-awake way, that I should really get better blackout curtains. The streetlight outside always leaks in around the edges, mixing with the TV glow to create this murky, underwater feeling in my room. I thought about the dream I'd been having. Something about work, I think. One of those anxiety dreams where you show up unprepared. Already, it was dissolving the way dreams do. I could see the blue-white glow washing over my bedroom, making everything look slightly unreal the way TV light does in the dark. I reached for the remote on autopilot. But then, I actually looked at the screen. It showed a cafeteria. The footage was weirdly crisp, almost too sharp. Like someone had used a really good camera, but didn't quite know how to make it look natural. The colours were slightly off, too saturated maybe. The lighting was fluorescent and institutional. There were lunch tables, that speckled linoleum flooring, those big rectangular trash cans. I thought it was maybe a commercial at first, or the opening of some TV show. Then I saw the salad bar. Not just the salad bar, the salad bar. The one from my high school cafeteria, with the sneeze guard that always had fingerprints on it, and the ranch dressing that came out too thin. I recognised the beige tiles on the wall behind it. Even the weird brown water stain in the corner, shaped kind of like a kidney bean. I used to stare at that stain sophomore year during lunch. My chest got tight. I sat up. The camera, I guess I should call it a camera, I don't know what else to call it, panned slowly across the cafeteria. I saw the table where the theatre kids sat. The one near the windows where the basketball team usually claim their spot. I saw the vending machines, the exact same models, with the same off-brand snack options no one ever bought. And then I saw myself. I was 16. I was wearing that navy blue hoodie that I lived in junior year, the one with the broken zipper. I was sitting alone at a table near the back, picking at a slice of pizza, reading something. A book, probably. I used to read during lunch to avoid the whole social navigation thing. The camera stayed on me for what felt like a long time. I watched 16-year-old me take a bite of pizza, flip a page, look up briefly when someone walked past. I watched myself exist in a moment I'd completely forgotten about. I couldn't move. I was sitting there in my bed, remote in my hand, just staring. My rational brain was trying to problem solve. Maybe it was old security camera footage, but no, our cafeteria didn't have cameras, at least not ones I ever noticed. And this wasn't grainy black and white security footage. This was in colour, high definition, filmed from an angle that moved, that chose what to focus on. And it felt like a memory, not like watching a recording. It felt like being inside that moment again, almost like I could smell the industrial pizza and floor cleaner. Then it cut. Static for maybe 2 seconds, that white noise crackle. New scene. I was in my childhood bedroom. I must have been about 12 or 13. I was sitting on the floor next to my bed, playing with these action figures I used to have. Spider-Man and this random knight figure from some medieval playset. I remember those toys. I remember making them fight each other, giving them dialogue, the whole elaborate storyline I'd invented. The camera showed me from an angle near the doorway, but my door was closed. I could see younger me moving the figures around, completely absorbed, lips moving slightly, like I was voicing both characters under my breath. I did that. I remember doing exactly that. My hands were shaking now. I wanted to turn off the TV, but I couldn't. I needed to understand what I was watching. Another cut. More static. I was in a car. Passenger seat. The camera was positioned where the back seat would be, pointing forward. I could see the side of my face, my reflection in the window. I looked about 19, maybe 20. I was staring out at the rain, and I recognized the intersection. Near my college campus, this spot where the bus always got stuck at the light. I was crying. I'd forgotten about this, completely forgotten. But the second I saw it, I remembered. This was right after my girlfriend broke up with me freshman year. I'd gotten on the bus trying to hold it together, and then just lost it. Sat there crying as quietly as I could, hoping no one noticed. The camera stayed on my reflection in that rain-streaked window. I watched myself cry. I watched the way I kept wiping my eyes, trying to compose myself, but failing. Cut. Static. It was a kitchen. My parents' kitchen. I was maybe 8 years old, sitting at the table doing homework. A math worksheet, I think. My mum was cooking something at the stove, her back to me. I could see the magnets on the refrigerator, the ones we'd had forever. A pizza slice magnet from some local place, a clip holding up old photographs. Younger me was swinging my legs under the table, not quite reaching the floor, chewing on a pencil eraser. My mum said something I couldn't hear. There was no sound, I should mention that. None of these scenes had sound, just images. But I could remember what she'd said. She'd asked if I wanted apple slices, and I'd said yes. I was crying now, actually crying. Sitting in my bed at 4:50 in the morning, watching myself as a child do homework. The scenes kept coming. Me in a grocery store, alone, maybe 17, reading the back of a cereal box in the aisle. Me sitting on a bench at a park I hadn't thought about in years, feeding pieces of a sandwich to some ducks. I must have been 11. Me in the bathroom at some party in college, drunk, staring at myself in the mirror, with that specific look people get when they're trying to decide if they're going to throw up or not. Me asleep in a different bed, in what I think was my first apartment, curled up in a way that made me look very small. Every single one was a real memory. Nothing dramatic, no significant moments, just life. Random fragments of existing. And that's what made it so much worse. These weren't my greatest hits. They weren't overly traumatic moments or important milestones. They were the forgettable parts, the boring stuff. The hundreds of thousands of moments that make up a life, but don't mean anything to anyone. Except someone had recorded them. Someone or something had been watching. Another cut. More static. My bedroom. My current bedroom. The angle was from the corner near the ceiling, pointing down at my bed. I was asleep. I was watching myself sleep right now. I could see the shape of my body under the covers, the way my head rested on the pillow, the slow rise and fall of breathing. I looked at my actual pillow, where my head actually was, then back at the screen. The me on the TV wasn't moving the same way I was moving. When I sat up fully, the me on TV stayed asleep. This was from earlier, maybe an hour ago, before I woke up. I grabbed the remote and turned off the TV. The room went dark. I sat there in the silence, breathing hard, waiting for my heart to stop hammering. I didn't turn it back on. I didn't go back to sleep either. I'm writing this Wednesday afternoon. I didn't go to work, called in sick. I've been sitting here, trying to make sense of what I saw. Rational explanations I've considered. 1, I was dreaming. Except, I've never had a dream that coherent, that detailed. And I was awake. I know I was awake. Number 2, some kind of hallucination. But I don't have a history of that, and it lasted several minutes. Number 3, someone's messing with me. Except, how? How would anyone get footage of me at 8 years old doing homework? At 16 eating lunch? Who would even want to? And number 4, I'm having a breakdown. Insomnia can do weird things to your brain. But none of those explanations feel right. However, there's another explanation I keep trying not to think about. What if none of this is real? What if everything, my memories, my life, these moments I'm so sure I experienced, what if they're just data, code? What if someone or something is running a simulation, and what I saw was a glitch, a peek behind the curtain? I sound insane. I know I sound insane. But here's the thing that I can't stop thinking about. Those moments on the TV felt more real than my actual memories of them. Like the memories in my head are just copies, and what I saw was the original file. I keep looking around my apartment now, really looking, trying to find something that proves this is real, that I'm real. But how would I even know? If this is a simulation, wouldn't everything feel real? Wouldn't the simulation want me to believe it? My hand looks real. This laptop feels solid under my fingers, but so did everything in that footage. I haven't slept since it happened. I'm afraid to. Afraid of what I might see if I fall asleep with the TV on again. But I'm also afraid I might need to. Because part of me, and this is the part that really scares me, part of me wants to see more. Wants to understand what's watching us. Wants to know what happens to all of those forgotten moments. Where do they go? Who keeps them? Why? I don't know if I'll post this. I don't know what I'm expecting anyone to say. I'm not looking for advice on sleep hygiene or recommendations for therapists, though I'm sure I'll get both. I just needed to tell someone. I needed to write it down before I start convincing myself it didn't happen. Before I forget, the way we forget all those little moments that someone, apparently, is recording. I still have insomnia. Worse than before, actually. But I don't turn the TV on anymore. I just lie there in the dark, listening, waiting to see if something is watching me watch the ceiling, wondering if there's a difference. Tomorrow, I'm going to force myself to go back to work, pretend everything's normal, make coffee, sit in traffic, respond to emails about things that don't matter. And the truth is, I'll probably be fine. I'll probably convince myself over the next few days it was just a sleep-deprived hallucination, a trick of an exhausted mind. I'll start sleeping with the TV on again because the alternative, the silence, is worse. But I'll remember this feeling, the certainty I have right now typing this, that something showed me the truth. That we're all being recorded. Every boring moment, every forgotten afternoon. Every time you sat alone and picked at your food and read a book no one remembers. Someone remembers. Something is watching. And honestly, I don't know which possibility scares me more. That I'm crazy, or that I'm not.